Welcome to Totally Naked Movie Reviews, where we review today's top movies, stripping them down to their bare essentials and exposing any faults they have. Tonight, we look at the first Purge. So by now, everybody knows the idea of the Purge movies. There's one night a year where all crime is legal, including murder, so people go out and murder one another. And this is this movie is a prequel to all the other Purge movies. It's set as the first Purge, which was this trial run that they do in Staten Island to see that if they legalize all crimes, would people go out and commit them? And yeah, I like this one. I've liked pretty much all the Purge movies except for that first one, which I thought just kind of blew its own premise and concept off and didn't explore it, whereas the other two did, and this one does it pretty good too. And it, sets it's the first one, so we kind of see how things, were put together, where it starts with the FFA, the new Founding Fathers of America, have just taken control of government maybe 2 years before in an election. I thought that's an interesting twist with this government, this corrupt government, that they came to power through the democratic system as opposed to just seizing it. Although I still kind of wonder how in 2 years after winning their first election, presuming it's supposed to be their first election, that they would have enough support that they would be able to legalize all crime and let people kill one another. That still seems like a bit of a stretch, but you never know. You look at today's government, people are supporting that. So yeah. And the story just kind of follows some of the people on Staten Island who have this sort of drug kingpin. He's not too thrilled with the idea of the Purge because he just thinks it'll just have to be more trouble for his business. So he just kind of hunkers down, and then later he's going to go out and help people. Kind of redemption arc. And then there's this brother and sister. The brother wants to take place in the Purge to get back at this guy who cut him with a razor. Before the Purge started, too. The brother, he was out selling dope on the street corner. Some weirdo, some drug addict calls himself Skeletor because he's scarred his face in a way that looks like a skeleton. Comes up, starts hassling the kid, and just gives him a wick with a razor blade. The kid wants kind of revenge, and his sister, she's the socially correct one. She's like, no, you can't fight against the Purge. It's all bad. And we also have the government monitoring it with this psychologist who came up with the idea. And, of course, they realize the Purge isn't going to work because just not enough people want to go and murder people. Which, something about the Purge movies, whenever the detractors want to get out and just talk shit about them, they always say, oh, so they just think that if all crime was legal, people would just go out and kill people? No, the Purge movies have made it clear that most people would not do that. That's been a recurring thing throughout all 4 Purge movies now. But the government uses it as an excuse to do population control. And of course, there are people who support the idea of the psychos. Because let's be honest, if there was a night, once a year where people could get away with committing crimes, some people would jump at that opportunity. The psychos. And the movies just kind of concentrate on people trying to survive the psychos. Because, a movie where someone just kind of bunkers down for 12 hours and does nothing just wouldn't be exciting. So like I said, this is the first Purge. And for the most part, I enjoyed it. They kind of gave you little things here and there showing what the Purge is like. This time around, we got, mercenaries have been hired by the government. They dress up as, white supremacists. I think we've seen that before, though. We get an idea of why there isn't a great deal of looting and robbing going on with the first death in the movie, where a guy's robbing the ATM, and that Skeletor character, that weirdo, comes up and just guts him to death with these blades that he's got on his fingers. So basically why people don't go out and rob Purge night is because they have to deal with the psychos, and they don't want to get killed. At least that's my interpretation. And of course, we had seen how it's the first Purge. A lot of people decide they're going to have a giant street party until, once again, Skeletor comes up and just starts slashing and dicing people. And we got people fucking out in the open. And yeah, like I said, I liked it, but I I don't think they did enough there. I think they could have, had more looting, had more people committing different crimes, because it's the first Purge, and people didn't know any better. And I kind of would like to see like people trying to figure out what they're supposed to do on Purge but not really know. So I will dock it a few points for that, because I don't think it explored enough. It just kind of gave us the same story that Purge 2 and 3 gave us, where you have some people who eventually run afoul of the government, so they have to not only survive the regular purges, they have to survive these government purgers. But aside from that, it was a decent enough film. So I paid $8.50 to see it. I'm going to give it $8.